Hello dear learners, today we are going to discuss few of the FAQs or repeatedly asked questions from the chapter histamine and antihistaminic drugs. They are also called as anti-allergic drugs. So since histamine, whatever the allergy is produced is because of the histamine production. So this histamine produces allergy. So the drugs which are acting against the allergy are anti-allergic drug which is produced by histamine, or they are also called as antihistaminic drugs. So if you will look into the questions, we have covered MCQs also from this chapter, antihistaminic drugs, histamine and antihistaminic drugs. So for MCQ type of questions, you can refer to MCQ videos, and this descriptive questions you can refer to the repeatedly asked questions, which are again important from MCQ point of exam also, because from this description only the MCQs will be selected. So to start with the question, first question is, what is histamine? Define and classify antihistamine drugs with example, and draw the structure of chlorpheniramine along with the brand name. So here if you will see the question, total question, which is joined with, like, the parts are, first it is about histamine, then it is about the antihistaminics ka classification, then it is about the antihistaminic drug chlorpheniramine. So these are the three different parts of the question, and the question is asked for 4 marks in the examination. So as far as the first question, what is histamine, is concerned, so as usual in every chapter we go through first some definitions, what is kind of questions. So to start with this chapter, the very first question comes is, what is histamine? So histamine kya hai and how it is biosynthesized, you are supposed to write down in the what is histamine answer. So what is histamine? Histamine ये एक naturally occurring amino acid है जो कि नाइट्रोजीनस है, जो बहुत से इम्यून रिस्पॉन्सेस में इन्वॉल्व होता है, ओके, विद एज अ पार्ट ऑफ इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स टू अ फॉरेन मटेरियल. सो हिस्टामाइन जो होता है वो प्रोड्यूस होता है मास्ट सेल एंड बेसोफिल से, एंड ये बहुत सारे इसके वैरायटी ऑफ फिजियोलॉजिकल एक्शंस है जो कि शॉर्ट में तुम लोगों को व्हाट इज हिस्टामाइन में बोलना है. फर्स्ट डेफिनेशन सॉर्ट ऑफ इंट्रोडक्शन टू हिस्टामाइन, देन the physiological actions only heading you are supposed to give into this answer, like the action on the blood vessel vasodilation, smooth muscles contraction, excretory glands stimulation, acids ka secretion, that means stimulation of acid secretion. So these are the few physiological actions in short when it is asked about what is histamine. Then next is define and classify antihistamines. So as far as the definition is concerned of that of antihistaminic drugs, so these are the drugs which are useful in the treatment of allergic symptoms. So they are called as anti-allergic drugs. So कौन से type of allergies? Those allergies which are caused due to histamine release. Like for example, various skin allergies like dermatitis is there, okay, pruritus, urticaria, sneezing, runny nose, etc. So these are various allergic responses shown by histamine, and the anti-allergic drugs or antihistaminic drugs will cure this one. And then the classification is concerned, this histamine is showing the action through various receptors like H1 receptor, H2 receptor, H3, H4 receptors. So the classification involves H1 and H2 receptor blockers. First generation H1 receptor blockers and second generation H1 receptor blockers are there, and H2 receptor blockers are there. So the trick to remember this classification, complete classification, a separate video is there on the trick to remember the classification of histamine and antihistaminic drugs, okay. So this classification you are supposed to give along with the example, and then you are supposed to give the structure of chlorpheniramine. Now chlorpheniramine, if you will see, it is a H1 receptor blocker which belongs to first generation का प्रोपाइल अमाइन क्लास, जिसको हम लोग अल्काइल अमाइन भी बोलते हैं. So why it is called as, why it belongs to propylamine class? So if you will give the structure of chlorpheniramine, chlorine will be there, phenyl will be there, okay. Then the pyridine heterocycle is there in chlorpheniramine structure, wherein if you will look into the antihistamines ka general structure, so the general structure will tell you the position of X, so it is varied. So when in case of this propylamine or alkylamine, when X is carbon itself, it is from the class alkylamine. So chlorpheniramine contains X as carbon only. So it belongs to the class propylamines or alkylamines. The next question is, along with not only the structure, chlorpheniramine brands are also being asked. The brands, like the famous brand is Febrix or Sinarest, which you all might be knowing, which is a very famous brand, Sinarest. Okay. Then other brands are also there, Bliscott, Adistine, etc. The next question is, write the physiological actions of histamine and classify antihistaminics with example. Now the physiological actions which are produced by histamine we have already discussed in the earlier question, like what is histamine, wherein we have discussed the various actions produced by histamine, say for blood vessel vasodilation, smooth muscles ka contraction, excretory glands ka stimulation, then acid ka secretion, stimulates the acid secretion. All these are the actions which are produced by histamine. And classification of antihistaminic, you will get a separate video for the trick to remember the classification of antihistaminic drugs. And this question is asked for 3 marks in the exam. Next question is, draw the structure of diphenhydramine. So if you will look into the classification again of antihistaminic drugs, then the diphenhydramine is the drug which belongs to the H1 receptor blockers ka first generation ethanolamines class. Now why it is ethanolamines, why it is from the class ethanolamines? Because if you look into the general structure again of anti-allergic drugs, as far as ethanolamines are concerned, like alkylamines में X C था, ethanolamines में X O है. So it is ethanolamines, ROR, that is ether functional group. Okay, so diphenhydramine का structure you are supposed to give, which belongs to the class ethanolamines, and since it is diphen, 2 phenyls are there and the rest structure is a general structure wherein X is O. Next question is the uses of promethazine and cyproheptadine they have asked. So again if you look into the classification, promethazine belongs to again H1 receptor blocker first generation from the class phenothiazine. Promethazine hydrochloride contains phenothiazine heterocycle, and cyproheptadine which belongs to dibenzocycloheptanes. So these 2 uses you are supposed to give. So if you will talk about the uses of promethazine and cyproheptadine, the promethazine having multiple uses. It is not only acting as a antihistamine, but it is also having the tranquilizer action, since it belongs to tricyclic antidepressant and contains this heterocycle, that is phenothiazine. It is having sedative action as well, it is having antiemetic action as well. So multiple uses of promethazine are there, which are very important, though it is a MCQ type of exam or though it is a descriptive kind of questions. Okay, when you come towards the uses of cyproheptadine, again cyproheptadine is definitely it is an antihistaminic drug which is useful in the treatment of underweight people, that it stimulates the appetite. Along with that, it is used in treatment of various allergic disorders also. Then next question is, give the brand names of diphenhydramine. Now when the diphenhydramine comes, we have already discussed that diphenhydramine is from ethanolamines class, and the famous brand of diphenhydramine which you all might be knowing is Benadryl cough syrup. So along with Benadryl, the other brands are also there. Few of them are Bronolax, Abcough, etc. Next question is, give the properties and uses of promethazine. So promethazine uses, we have already discussed that it is having multiple uses, promethazine, and where as far as the property is concerned, it is a white to pale yellow crystalline powder which is soluble in water and soluble in organic solvents also, but it is very much uh, sensitive to heat and light. It gets degraded in presence of air and presence of light. Okay, therefore it should be protected from air and light, heat and light, air, heat, light. Next question is, name the drug used in allergy. Now drug used in allergy, uh, so all are anti-allergic drugs only. So name any 2 or 3 drugs which are anti-allergic drugs. So the examples which we have just now seen, diphenhydramine is there which belongs to ethanolamine class, chlorpheniramine is there which belongs to alkylamine class, then promethazine is there which belongs to phenothiazine class. Other examples are also there which are from second generation H1 receptor, that is cetirizine, levocetirizine. H2 receptor blockers are there like famotidine, ranitidine, cimetidine, etc. Next question is, what is allergy? Define anti-allergic or antihistaminic drugs and name any 2 drugs of the same. So this, just now we have discussed the examples. Definition of anti-allergic or antihistaminic also we have discussed initially only, and then we will be talking about the allergy. So allergy is nothing but it is caused due to an allergen. एलर्जन क्या होता है? एक ऐसा सब्सटेंस होता है जो एलर्जी प्रोड्यूस करता है। कब? जो फॉरेन सब्सटेंस होता है, मतलब जो एलर्जन प्रेजेंट होता है एनवायरनमेंट में, जब वो पर्सन के इम्यून सिस्टम पे अटैक करता है तो उसके रिस्पांस में एक एलर्जिक रिएक्शन प्रोड्यूस होता है जिसको हम लोग हाइपर सेंसिटिविटी डिसऑर्डर्स भी बोल सकते हैं इम्यून सिस्टम का. दैट इज़ नथिंग बट एलर्जी. So with this we finish with few of the questions from antihistaminic drugs, repeatedly asked questions, and to summarize, the important aspects are histamine itself is important, its biosynthesis is also very important, then its physiological actions of antihistamines are important, definitions of histamine, antihistamine drugs, then classification of antihistaminic drugs is important, the structure important are from all from फर्स्ट जनरेशन, लाइक फर्स्ट जनरेशन H1 रिसेप्टर ब्लॉकर्स जो कि है डाइफेनहाइड्रामाइन, क्लोरफेनिरामाइन है, प्रोमिथाजाइन है, ऑल दीज स्ट्रक्चर्स आर important. So with this we finish with few of the frequent FAQs which are asked from the chapter histamine and antihistaminic drugs. For details you can refer to our theory videos on the same. First is trick to remember the classification of antihistaminic drug, then about histamine one video is there, then about MCQs one video is there. So you can refer back to those many videos. Thank you and stay tuned with us for the next video on the FAQs.